Hi, and welcome to English 1302. This is week 8, part 2. Don't forget, we've pushed your second quiz back to next week, so it'll be the end of next week, Thursday and Friday. I guess that's going to be October 23rd and 24th. That sound right to anybody? And it will cover all the short stories, plus the literary criticism, with a special focus on the elements of formalism. Now, formalism is one of about 8 different types of literary criticism that we've talked about this semester, but it's the most useful, it's the most common, and so it is broken down into further subgroups. To be honest with you, all of them are. This is just the one we use most often, and so we kind of just hit the high points on the others, but you'll need to know those definitions. But be sure you know a lot about formalism. If you've been filling out those handouts, those worksheets called Elements of Formalism, that'll help a lot. Although you can't use them on the test, of course. That would be cheating. You don't want to do that. Boy, this shirt is a lot more wrinkled than I thought. Sorry. Okay. Your second research assignment paper is due this Sunday, October 19th, before 11:55 p.m. Of course, you're going to turn it in using the Turnitin app, which is under the assignment tab in your Blackboard course. And let me just recommend to you that, as always, you print out the assignment sheet and review it carefully. One of the things I would point out to you is that one of the things that I'll be grading for is, of course, source evaluation. Now, this only has 2 sources, and I gave you one. That's the short story Barn Burning by William Faulkner. But you'll have to find a secondary source that either it talks about the story, Barn Burning by William Faulkner, or it talks about the element of formalism that you're going to use to explain the short story. So you could find a journal or a book that talks about setting or style or tone, and you have to quote that at least once. What I recommend, this is how I would handle this assignment. I would find a book or a journal article with an author that's been published fairly recently, has some cred to it, and then I would use that to create my definition of setting or style or tone or rounded character, whatever it is you're dealing with, and put that in the first body paragraph. So you've established what a foil is, and then your next 2 body paragraphs are examples of foils from the short story. And then, of course, each body paragraph needs one short quote from it. I've been looking at your outlines, and some of you guys have these big, huge, long quotes when you really just need a short quote. You want to boil those down. More explanation, less summation. On your first paper, a lot of people try to retell the story, and that's not necessarily bad, but when you retell the story, it eats up all the area, all the space for explaining the story, and you want to focus on the explanation, not the summary. So you can just skip summary altogether and just focus on the explanation of how Sardi and Abner are foils in the short story Barn Burning. Don't forget, title of short stories go in quotation marks, not italics, not bold. In fact, we don't use boldface anywhere in MLA. You probably have to look up the correct way to cite your source. The easiest way to do that is either the MLA website, or I like the Purdue OWL website. It's just Purdue owl.edu, I think, or just Google it, Purdue MLA, and it'll take you right to it. But let's see, that's it. On the quiz, of course, we'll be using the honor lock again. I don't think too many people had trouble with that, but if you want to, you can come to my Monday night class, which will actually be about 4 days ahead of yours, but you can come take it in person. We'll be taking that at the end of class this coming Monday. Yeah. And then, once we take that test, then we will start our last unit for this semester, which is the poetry unit. I hope you'll find a poem that you really like. We'll be doing some fun ones, and I think we're doing some Edgar Allan Poe, so just in time for Halloween. And just lots of things there. The best advice I can give you at this point, when we get to the poetry unit next week, You're going to have to read them carefully. You want to read them through several times. Read them to yourself, read them out loud, read them to your dog, read them to your walls, your car, whatever. But read them multiple times so that you can really get the meaning that's packed densely in these poems. Poetry is a wonderful thing wonderful part of life and a fantastic form of art. If you have any questions, next few minutes will be okay, but tomorrow is fall break and the college is closed. Sorry about that. I had forgotten that was coming up. And then Saturday and Sunday, my weekends are pretty busy. Don't forget, late work is not accepted, so get something turned in. Even if it's not your best work, even if you wished you could take another day or two on it, go ahead and turn something in, and I can give you partial credit for it, even if it's not your best work. All right. If you have any general questions, and you don't need an answer until next week, shoot me an email at jfly@southplains college.edu, and good luck.